Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to take you for a ride in the Philippines in my new motorbike that I recently purchased. And number one thing that I have to advise you is to always wear your helmet because it's mandatory to have it on all the time, both for rider and passenger. Number two is you have to have a driver's license that has restriction 1 for two-wheel vehicle like the motorcycle and restriction 4 for an automatic cars. The other thing you need is your ORCR or your registration. In case you get pulled over, you can show them that the motorcycle or the car that you're riding already has a registration or it's registered at Land Transportation Office or LPO. And the final thing you need to have is, of course, your insurance, which will cover you in case you hit somebody on the road. Minimum required is third-party liability. So if you hit someone on the road that is walking in there, that will pay for that or you're covered. So right now I am going to ride around in one of the busiest town or city in Metro Manila, which is Quezon City. And this is not an overstatement, but this right here is a classic example of how busy the roads are in the Philippines due to the number of people and number of public utility vehicle in the country. Like this one right here on the right side is a jeepney. They're everywhere because this is the cheapest mode of transportation in the country. Most people ride in it, especially the students. They will take the jeepneys to get around to schools, etc. But there are also a lot of other type of transportation like taxi, of course, Grab, which is similar to Lyft or Uber. There is a angkas, which is a motorcycle, but they can carry a client or customer, a passenger with them, which I'll show you in a little bit. So at this point, I am riding my motorbike for almost 2 weeks now. So I'm still fairly new. I have been starting to ride my motorbike, to study riding motorbike for the last 3 months and off on weekends. And let's just say I probably put in about 40 or 100 miles on my motorbike at this point. So I am very, very new. And although this seems a little scary, the next 5 days to 7 days of riding in this condition is kind of scary. But after that, you get a little bit more comfortable. You can't be too comfortable. You have to have some healthy fear or inhibition to ride in a motorbike safely. So my most important technique is really looking where you have to go. That means pay attention to people like this just coming through from any direction. Be more proactive in making sure that you have a room to brake. So I'm usually staying away from the cars or trucks in front of me as long as I can avoid it. And just go slow. And I'm talking, at this point, I'm taking maybe 3 miles per hour or 5 miles per hour, which is still better than riding your cars because then you would be stopping the road for a long time. So right here is a 4-lane highway, sort of a highway, but really doesn't feel like a highway because there's a lot of traffic. At this point, I'm more aware of what's happening in my environment. I'm looking at brake lights. I'm looking at the type of vehicle that I'm just about to pass, whether it's a bus, a jeepney, a truck, taxi, because at any moment, somebody could be getting off that vehicle and I could be hitting somebody or hitting somebody else's door. So right now, I'm just looking my left side, making sure no one is getting off the bus, and paying attention on the right side as well. And then there's also this motorcycle that will just try to pass you when you're riding a little bit slow, because I'm riding slow. And right here there are many businesses on the right side, so there could be any cars or people coming from either direction. So I'm really conscious about who they are, what they're going to be doing. I see that this car is backing up and he's got a hazard light, so he could be doing something. Yep, he is parking very, very slow. And if you see on my left side, some of these motorcycles are just squeezing themselves in. So if you notice this green line on the left, these cars are supposed to stay there. That will give room for motorcycles to pass them safely. And right here, when I see an intersection like this, I'm usually looking at the drivers while I'm riding slow to see if they've seen me. Otherwise, I would just let them go. Right here, I'm looking at trucks or cars that are cutting me off, like this one. He wants to stay on the right, so I'll let him go. And I am keeping a safe distance away from the cars in front of me and allowing people on the right side to pass if they really need to pass. I'm also paying attention on the motorcycles behind me, because they could be trying to pass me and I don't want to change lanes. So number one trick is be predictable and assume that no one sees you, because at this point I am riding about 5 miles per hour or 10 miles per hour, but if I'm not predictable enough, there could be a motorcycle that's going to hit me from behind. And if I'm not predictable enough, then the other cars might want to stay behind me or cut me off. So right now we're stopped on the stop sign, and the interesting part of this is all the motorcycles are usually gathered up in the very front of the stoplight. So then when the thing turns green, they're the first one to go. So if you've noticed on the right side, all these motorcycles are in front, and also in my side. So as soon as this turns green, we are going. The problem I have right now is that I need to U-turn, but there's no U-turns any minute on this road. So I have to go all the way on the left side and find a U-turn spot, which I think there is one, but it's not officially a U-turn spot. I just have to U-turn here, so I don't have to go all the way on the next road to do my U-turn. And I'm right here. The worst part about this is that there's no spot to U-turn, right? So I am gonna find a little spot just to get around. These cars are stopped, so I can just find a way to get around here. This is really dangerous if these cars are moving, so you shouldn't be doing that. In fact, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going anyway. So I'll try to find the spots where there's a green line in between, right here, I believe. Yeah, there you go. This taxi shouldn't be here, but you know, taxis in the Philippines are kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they're good, sometimes not so good. But right here is the spot where I can keep going. This is for motorcycles and bicycles, so I can just keep going there. And at this point, I am pretty close to my registration office to pick up my ORCR, which is required for me to have in order for me to ride my motorbike. And so that's pretty much what it's like to ride in the Philippines. This is a 15-minute ride, so as you can see, I'm pretty safe, but yeah. So I'm going in the motor trade, which where I purchased my motorcycle, and then picking up my original ORCR. And at this point, I'm gonna continue my ride to see my sister. Let me give you guys a little bit of ideas what to do. So in summary, the most important thing that you need to do when you're riding a motorcycle is, number one, to be hyper alert where the other hazards are coming from, because they're everywhere due to traffic and the number of people that could be in a road. Number two is that don't assume that they see you, because even if they see you, they might be cutting you off, like this person right here. Trucks like this, you shouldn't stay behind, because sometimes, and even closer, don't stay close behind the truck, because sometimes they back up before they move forward. So just give yourself enough time, and if you can just get out of that hazard and filter through it, that would be the best thing to do. Pay attention in your right side, because there are cars that are pulling out from a driveway into the street. So right here, for example, I am filtering through traffic on the right side. Always look behind you before you change lane, because you could hit somebody like that, since it's a very high volume traffic. And as soon as it turns green, get out of the hazards right away, whether or not there is trucks in front of you. Just don't go too fast or too slow, otherwise somebody will try to cut you off. And then finally, if you can avoid it, stay away from stay in the right lane if you can, which would be inside the green light, but look at for cars who might be turning right, or who might want to temporarily park on the side of the road. And that's pretty much it. I hope to see you at my next motovlog video. Thank you.